this is the Stitching Scripture podcast. Welcome back to Monday of the Holy Week. Today we will be talking about the cleansing of the temple. When Christ goes into Jerusalem, he goes to the temple that is there, and he finds merchants buying and selling in the temple, money changers, things like that, and it makes him really upset. The book of John says that he makes a scourge of small cords. This is a whip. He drives out the animals, overthrows tables, all this kind of stuff, and is really, really upset. He says that this is his father's house, and there's a lot of anger that comes with that. It is very much so a scene of chaos. Growing up, I think I didn't realize how much chaos this would have been. And The Chosen just came out recently with their episodes showing this in theaters, and I think they did a really good job showing on screen how chaotic this would have been. In Matthew 21:13, and this also appears in Mark and Luke, it says, "It is written, my house shall be called the house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves." It's obvious that Christ here is very upset. This is his father's house, and he does not want it desecrated in this way. And they have defiled it by making it a merchant's place, by buying and selling, haggling, all this kind of stuff. And yes, a lot of this was most likely for sacrifices, especially since it's the week of Passover. There's certain things that have to be sacrificed. And so there was probably mostly a lot of selling of animals for the sacrifices that were going to be made. And so it was under this guise of a holy thing, but wasn't really. And then the Pharisees and Sadducees come and confront him and ask him questions and what he's doing and ask for a sign and all the stuff. And he responds with, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." And then a verse later it says, "He spake of the temple of his body." And so the Pharisees and the Sadducees were very confused by this. They're like, it took 46 years to build a temple. You think you're just going to build it in 3 days? Like, what? But this is actually a prophecy of his crucifixion and resurrection that will happen later in the week, though most people did not realize that. With this cleansing of the temple, we can see that this is a sacred space. Christ doesn't get angry very often, and his anger here is a righteous anger. He is defending and he is protecting the sacred. And I think a lot of the times we like to view Christ as this loving, happy, be kind Jesus, which is true. There's a lot of mercy from Christ. There's a lot of love thy neighbor. But the two great commandments are to love God with all thy heart, might, mind, and strength, and then to love thy neighbor as thyself. First comes loving God. And so on these sacred things, we need to stand our ground, and we need to stand up, and we need to defend them, and we need to remember their sacredness and make sure that sacredness remains intact. Make sure that we are not defiling the sacred and that we do not let others defile the sacred. And even with the anger, you kind of have to be careful in how you do it because you don't want it to turn into unrighteous anger. But that standing up and going, no, this is sacred, this is of God, that is what we should be doing. It's also a good chance for us to look in our own lives and look, where are we taking things that maybe should be more sacred and we're not holding them as sacred as they should be? Or in what ways in our lives are we being like these money changers and these merchants and the other people there that Christ got mad at? And where can we purify our lives? Thank you for joining me today. Again, my website, stitchingscripture.com. Holy Week 25 is a coupon code that will be able to be used this entire week that will get you free shipping. Have a wonderful day.